museum collections manager, and I'm responsible for all of the museum artifacts that the AHS holds. That's 28,556 artifacts, everything from tiny little tax tokens to wheeled vehicles. Well, there's actually a couple different kinds of collections. I'm responsible for the artifacts, the three-dimensional things. There's another department of the society that's the Library and Archives, and they're responsible for the paper-based things, includes books, manuscript materials, and photographs. But I deal with artifacts, like the things you see behind me, portraits, the artwork, the saddles, the furniture, clothing, firearms, all those kinds of things. Everything and anything I deal with on a day-to-day basis. No, there's no 2 days that are the same. It's not a cookie-cutter job by any means. Some days you start out with a plan of what you're going to do, and then you're overtaken by events, and you never get near that because other things intervene. So it's kind of fun. There's a couple of things that are probably financially expensive. We don't keep track of that because it's not of interest to us. But if we were to take them, say, to the Antiques Roadshow, we have a rifle that belonged to Geronimo, a Springfield military rifle that he had. And so that's probably a priceless piece. The other thing we have is we have three huge paintings by Maynard Dixon, his first public commission in 1907. And they were painted off Tucson, and they were in the Tucson downtown railroad depot on Toole Avenue. And so his work is now extremely sought after and very expensive. So those three pieces are probably also priceless. We are the city's historical society. There is no city history museum. We're it. So not only do we collect the whole Arizona state story, we collect the story of Tucson and Tucson's people. So the people who live next door to you, down the block, the businesses that you go visit, we're the history of all of those things. I think probably one of the weirdest pieces in the collection is the voodoo doll. We call it the voodoo doll. It's a little wax effigy inside a clear mason jar with a metal lid screwed on top. And inside you can look through the jar and you can see it's definitely a male. And unfortunately he's been pierced in very uncomfortable parts. So somebody was trying very hard to wish some nasty things to this poor gentleman. It was found hidden under the steps of a little house in downtown Tucson.
I'm museum curator, and right now I'm working mostly on exhibits. Whatever exhibit we all decide on. Starting with research all the way to laying out the cookies and lunch. I've worked at Tempe just as temporary, maybe for 8 hours. I've also worked at Yuma, at San Diego House. I mean, not San Diego, Serengeti House. In Yuma, I worked there a few days to get some exhibits out there as well. Well, because it is history, and history is what we are. We're all in it. We're all in it together. And, remember history one way or another. It's just important to remember where we came from. There are ghosts in the basement. Yep. People have heard it, people have seen it, and not just people that we work with, so it's interesting.
I am the educator. I'm the only educator, but it doesn't mean that I just deal with school groups. Educators get to do all kinds of stuff at the museum. I work on exhibits, which means developing and designing exhibits with the team. I do public programs, which bring in adult audiences too, and basically just about anything I'm asked to do. Well, this morning I had an adult class that was history boot camp, and I'm training a group of adults to be tour guides. This part of Arizona was settled before the Native Americans. It was settled by the Spanish when they came through on their, I want to say excursion, but that's not really it. So this part of Arizona is kind of where Arizona was born, if you look at it from the European perspective. And this sort of gets back into that state rivalry between Tucson and Phoenix, but for a long time there really was no